Oh, Thursday night member spotlight. Hey, Bob, how's it going?
It's going great, John. Thank you very much.
Are you ready for this spotlight? This is going to be fantastic.
I'm excited about this one, especially, yes, and
This is
for a
going to
couple
be
of
great.
reasons. We'll get to those whenever we introduce Addie.
I love this. This is going to be so much fun. We've got one of our longtime members of the Tri Club, Addie Grinspun here. Hey, Addie, how's it going?
It's awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
oh, it's going to be great to go through
It
this,
is.
and I'm going to really enjoy this. You're one of my most favorite people to visit with at a race, and you're from a superstar family. And I just got to say, you enjoyed that World Cup a little bit, didn't you?
Oh my God, we're still, guys, we're celebrating. We're still celebrating.
Yeah,
That is
Like
great.
that was a family affair.
I've seen Rodo cry twice in my life. Once when Leon was born, and once when we won the World Cup. I was like, what? Like he was crying like a baby.
Oh, I love it. And and you have so much fun, and I love seeing
Mm.
the energy that you bring to the races. And so this is going to be a lot of fun talking with you tonight. So Addie's our guest tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Bob for our official introduction and get us started.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much for being with us tonight, Addie. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about having you on tonight, especially early in the year, is because John, as the club president, has set the theme for 2023 to be to thrive. And you just embody that whole concept and that whole theme of thriving. And it's in triathlon as well as outside of triathlon. You are, with your enthusiasm and your energy,
Yeah.
you are a fine example for everyone who is watching on how to thrive. So
Oh,
one
thank
of
you.
the
I
things,
appreciate that.
and that's what I want to get started with. I mean, we'll get to the triathlon stuff for later, and we'll get to the some of your races we want to talk about. Um, and I'm jumping ahead of myself too for the folks listening. Addie did her first triathlon, Pumpkin Man 2012. Very tough triathlon to do your first one. And then joined the club right after that. So that's in 2013. And so she is one of our longtime members, been here almost 10 years, and has done dozens of triathlons, sprints, ollies, 70.3s. There may be a full in her repertoire this year because she is coming back. Okay, so that's Addie. For those who don't know Addie, so tell us, Addie, what your enthusiasm and energy is actually kind of legendary within the club.
Yeah.
So tell us about that and how how that plays into the business that you have. You have a wonderful business of helping women brand themselves, and you're an outstanding photographer. So can you just get us started by talking about what thriving means to you?
Oh, I love that. So I want to start first, like I kind of want to like set the background for this, because I think that people see me and they're like, you're so positive and you do all this, and so number one, I came to the US because I was a bartender, right? So I was brought to work at one of the casinos
from Buenos Aires, from
Buenos
Argentina.
Aires. So my first accomplishment was actually doing that. I became really, really good at what I did, and I was brought to the US. But in those years, I got very comfortable, right? Like you thrive in your career, you get really good at what you do. And I really was good. And that's how I actually met Rhoda. There is a whole story there. But at some point I was in a moment in my life where I was very complacent and I lost kind of motivation, right? So when it came to work, I didn't have anything that was a passion anymore. And through those years, Rod and I got married, I got pregnant, and I actually was telling you guys outside of camera, like I was the girl that left work, I party, Rod and I used to party a lot.
I don't find that very hard to believe.
If you think you like a lot, okay, now double that. And when we decided to start a family, obviously the focus changed. And I found myself in this space where I was never an athlete. I never did any sports growing up. I was a little chubby. And when Leon was born, I was left with like about 30 pounds overweight and a bartending job to go back to.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, you guys, I was so big.
Yeah.
And Rodo, through that process, started writing. He was always into soccer, swimming, like he did all the sports growing up.
Mhm.
He was that kid. Like he
Mhm.
played, he played soccer, all of it. So he started writing. And when I was clear to start exercising, he bought me a bike and we started going out riding with like cycling groups around town. And I kept falling and I kept falling and I kept falling. And I was like, dude, you kidding me? What's this? And one of the things that happened though was through those falls, I was like, this is not going to win. This is not going to win. I want to win before I keep falling. And it kind of ignited the thing on me of like actually learning something new, which I lost through so many years, right, of bartending. Because I don't know if you guys know, but like we were flair bartenders.
Right.
So there was a lot of physical exercise and like striving for better. So through that writing and trying to lose weight, whatever, he was like, I want to do a triathlon. And I was like, you're fucking crazy. Like, no, like I'll go cheer on you, whatever. So he signed up. I think it was Pumpkin Man or something before that. I don't know. And I went to watch him and something, I don't know what was it, you guys, but I sat there looking at all the people running and I was like, these people are so happy. Like these people are, and it gave me goosebumps and I started to get into this like feeling of like life is meant to do things that are hard. And I'm going to tell you that awakening is still with me today. Like that was not something.
Time out. I want to stop and just revel in that quote. Life is meant to do things that are hard. I just love that. You get the accomplishment from it, and if you don't get the accomplishment from it, it's not is.
It was, I don't know how to explain it, but it gave me this whoa. So I think actually he did Pumpkin Man the year before, because I can remember Leon was just like very little. So then November came around and it was my birthday and Rodo bought me, there was a trainer here in town. I don't think she's around anymore. Her name was Stephanie Wiggle, and he bought me her training program for 3 months to train for Pumpkin Man. And I did that training, you guys. I'm going to tell you, when I started running, people don't believe this. I ran a block at a time. I was so out of shape. I never run in my life. I was not coordinated with my feet. I could flip bottles, but I couldn't run a block. So I started running and I remember I was like, I just need to make it to Cimarron. I just need to make it to Rampart. I just need to make it to the park. And like, I literally, that was my beginning. And what happened through that transformation is I recover all that confidence that kind of like through, motherhood for women, it's hard. Like it was hard. And I regained my confidence. Like, I regained knowing that I could do hard things, knowing that if I put something on my mind, I would do it.
Well, was that in combination with being a mother? Because that's hard. That's what the hardest job on the planet.
So what happened was my mom was here helping me with Leon when he was just born. And this was about 6 weeks after that I started actually training, because I had gained and you guys know me, I'm so small. So I gained about 50 pounds on my pregnancy. I was like a little ball. Like it was crazy. I couldn't recognize myself. So there was all the things, and training became like my freedom. Like I would go run and I was like, freedom. like riding my bike was like, the hair on my face felt so good. And I never felt that ever in my life. And I honestly thought that I was going to do Pumpkin Man, lose the weight, one and done.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Like, I never in my life thought I'm going to do an out triathlon. So I go to Pumpkin Man, and it was hard. Like, guys, like, if you've never run in your life, doing a sprint was hard, but I finished. And I remember I crossed the finish. I told Rodo, oh my God, we need to sign up for another one. Like, he couldn't believe it. And since then, I remember we joined the Tri Club, and I did all the BBSC races. Like, I literally, the first 4 years, we did every race in town, every single race, every single race. Like, for a good 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, I did my first half. And that was also, so through all that time, I was still bartending.
Oh, you're working night shift. You're working late nights.
So I was working nights, and I was building my photography business. I really didn't know what I wanted. I knew I wanted to change. I knew that I wanted to do something different, but I was very lost. And triathlon was my north. Triathlon was the one thing that I learned so much from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a bad accident in 2017, and like, we can get into that if you want, but like, I learned so many life lessons through triathlon. Triathlon for me is like the one constant that I know it can always bring me back to my true self.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tie that into your business right now, because you help women brand themselves and get confidence. And I love what you said about the fact that your accomplishment and the fact that you did something that was hard gave you confidence. And a lot of people will say, and you can tell me if this fits in with your business and your theory, but if you have to have confidence, you have to have something to have confidence in. Yeah. And you did that hard thing and became a triathlete, and that gave you confidence. And that's, does that translate into your business?
Absolutely, because a few reasons why. First, because I actually use examples of exercise all the time. I do a lot of mindset work with my clients around movement and endorphins, and they don't need to do a triathlon, but like, even just moving 15 minutes a day, right? It will make your business better. But actually, I personally think that one of the reasons I wanted to leave my job is because I wanted to do more triathlon. I wanted to get up. I know it sounds crazy, but I wanted to get up at 5 a.m. to train. I wanted to be that person. And for amazing that my bartending career, and we were both world champion flair bartenders. Like, we both traveled the world doing that.
Wow.
For me, that era of my life was over. And I really wanted to start this era where I was raising my son. I became this healthy person, like, and starting my business. Actually, I think that I had the guts to do that. Because I did this. Yeah. I honestly, in my heart, believe, guys, having a business, I don't know. I know, John, you've been in your career for a long time. I don't know, Bob, if you have your business. It's not for the faint of heart. No. But I love it. And my boundaries are like, I train every morning, right? Even when I'm not training for a race, and it took a step back the first few years. But last year when we did Santa Cruz, I told Rodo, like, I cannot let this feeling go to waste, because the happiness that I feel racing.
And you beat me to my next question. You answered it before I asked it. And that was, as we're talking about the theme is to thrive this year. And I was going to ask you, how does triathlon play into that thriving? And you answered that so beautifully. I don't have to ask it. So triathlon is a major part of it.
It's such a major part because you're constantly in this uncomfortable situation. It sounds kind of weird, right, to say that, but in order for you to get better, the lessons in triathlon.
I understand completely. Understand.
The day in and the day out. I don't know if you guys read The Slight Edge, if you ever read that, but it's a book that talks about that 1% that John, you always talk about. And it's like the things that we do every day, right? And triathlon show me that. It's like showing up for that thing that looks like you're not gaining anything, but in the big scheme of things, you're making big changes that you can't see.
What is that book again, Addie?
It's called The Slight Edge.
Slight Edge.
It's
Okay.
It's by an author called Jeff Olson. It's and it's not just about business. It talks about life. It talks about like your finances. It talks about exercising and health and diet and how easy, right, it is for you to do something, but that at the same time is very easy not to do.
Yeah.
So easy not to do, to skip your run, to skip your swim. It's so easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
But on the repetition, it's the reward.
No, I get it. That's a wonderful message. Those things that are so easy to stay in bed or to.
Oh my God, it's so easy to stay.
Or as another club member coined it as micro quits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something that happens psychologically is when you start quitting on yourself over and over on those mini things, you lose faith on yourself. And then you believe that you're not that person, but in reality, that's not true. It's just you kept letting yourself down over and over and over. Right? So
that's a wonderful way to look at it. Gosh, talk about changing your perspective. That'll do it. Yes.
I love this, Eddie, and this is why I was really excited about having you on. I mean, you have never given off the impression that something was hard for you or that you were lacking confidence in something. So I'm really great and very grateful for you to share that with everyone, because you definitely have the skills to overcome these things, or you've built them up, and triathlon, and you've applied that to triathlon, but you've also applied that back into your life.
I do this exercise a few times a year that it has to do with like my perception. Obviously, what I do is personal branding, and I ask a few people, hey, what are 3 things that come to mind when you think of me professionally, personally, right? And one thing that comes as a theme, and this has been a regular in my life, is like, I see you confident and I see you fearless. And I did a lot of work around it because I'm not fearless. Like I have tons of fears, right?
But you have the courage to overcome it.
There is one thing that I do constantly is I do shed no matter how fearful I am. Like that, like I will do things that one time I went to the lake and John was there. Do you remember? Like it was like the waves and I was like, I was not gonna get in, and he was like, come on, let's go. I was like, sure, let's go. It was the scariest thing, and I was like, I mean, I'm not gonna die, right? And then sometimes I think about it and I'm like, well, I couldn't.
You could have.
But I think that is that growth that you constantly have when you do things when you are scared, and it's just getting used to be scared and do them anyway.
I love the fact that you pointed out that you do have fear, but you overcome them, and that's what gives you your confidence, and that's what gives you your accomplishment.
I would love to actually share something because I think it would be really a lot of help.
Please do.
I actually had to overcome a lot of fear on the bike. So just so you know, you guys, even though I was a flair bartender, I am not a coordinated person. I am the clumsiest person like that you're ever gonna meet, which is crazy, right? So even though I had a bike growing up, I was never an athlete. I never did sports, like all the things. So I was always very scared on the bike.
Mhm.
And in 2017, I had a bad accident on Lake Shore.
Mhm.
I ended up in the hospital. Actually, I don't know if I can bring this up, but I actually see this every day. Where is it? I don't even remember. So like
Mhm.
it was bad, like it was bad. So
And what happened? Did the wind knock you down?
no, I was just going like 30 something miles an hour, you know, when you go downhill.
Mhm.
And when I was in aero, when I looked up, the triangle was there and I didn't make it to get to the left.
Oh.
And I hit the medium and I
Oh.
flew. And I was lucky because as soon as I landed, this truck came over and they actually ended up picking me up. But I mean, it was
Mm.
a situation where like my life was in danger, like I could have died.
Yeah.
And it put so many things into perspective. And I remember, I think it was Ivan Dominguez or somebody told Rodo she needs to get on her bike right away as soon as she can walk,
Mhm.
because I broke my scapula. It was bad. But he was like, as soon as she can walk, she needs to get on her bike. And I was like, he must be like freaking delirious, this guy. And Rodo, as soon as I was able to actually get on the bike, 3 months it took me to get back on the bike. Like, yeah, I was out of work for 3 months. Like, there is a whole story. Actually, it's crazy because Erin is the person that was there with me.
Yeah. Mm.
And so there is a lot of feelings around all that. And Erin is the person that took me to the hospital, that called Rodo, like all this story, right? But once I got on the bike, I couldn't even pedal. I literally would shake on the bike. And I remember I told Rodo, I don't care how long it takes, I'm gonna get back on the bike. And I would ride my bike on the park,
Yeah.
not on the street, on the park. And I would do drills.
Mm.
And I had a friend one time telling me like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because I'm not gonna let this fear win.
Yeah.
And overcoming that, like, was probably the biggest. People think that is work or, you know, motherhood. That was probably the biggest thing I ever done.
That's a big challenge.
I was so scared. I was scared to death. Like, I've never experienced a fear like that.
No.
And the reason why I showed you this is because I look at this often, every day. When I do my hair, I do my makeup, and I'm like, you overcame that, you can overcome anything.
Very good.
Because it's mental. There was nothing physical that was stopping me. It was here.
See, I love that. Is such a fantastic story. Because one, you bring all this positive energy, but in your heart, you're a fierce competitor. You're fierce. You.
Oh yeah, I actually, Rodo says that there is like a different person inside of me.
And it comes out in triathlon.
But because also I don't put those times sometimes on training. I'm slow training.
Yeah. And these challenges get put in front of you and you just knock them down one at a time. And I just love the deliberate approach of recognizing what the challenge is and you overcome it. It's really, and that's a fierceness that I see.
I enjoy it. I really enjoy working through a challenge and kind of figuring it out.
And I believe it was Candace that said you were pushing her so hard, and she was.
Oh, I challenged her too. I was like, I'm committed. I'm coming back this year. I have a lot of work to do, guys.
Yeah. So,
if I told them if Jamie gets a spot in Finland, I'm gonna be their Sherpa.
Yeah. Good for you.
I'll come with them, but I'll be the Sherpa.
So what do you, if you, John, it's okay. You know, what do you have planned for 2023?
So my goals, okay, last year when I did Santa Cruz, what I realized was how much triathlon really gave into my life. You know, after like I quit my job in 2018 and I gave it my all to my business, and I really needed to focus and I needed really to like figure things out, right? So last year, now my business is thriving and we're doing awesome, and I have a little bit of a team to help me. So this year, I'm already started. Like I have a coach again, and I'm like, I'm training, and I want to do Oregon because I got left out last year. By the time I went to register, there were no spots. So my goal this year is to do the local races, and I want to do Oregon. I don't have like a actual time goal, or my goal is actually to stick with it and to actually do it, right? So, and my goal also is to get back into my healthy self. I left myself kind of like get very, distracted and all the things, but it's business, and transferring from job life to business life was hard, was different. So like now I'm like, nothing happens in my business until 10 a.m. I don't care. I'm training.
Working.
I'm like, because I also have Leon, and Leon's still young.
Yeah.
So my goal is Oregon. And then not my business to say, but Rodo is doing another full in Mexico at the end of the year. So I want to support him. That has been, like, John, like when somebody's doing a full, so that has been crazy. So my goal is also doing all the local races, like, but racing, like I want to race, like I want to go and I want to give it my all. I don't want to go and be like, I want to go and I want to race.
I love it. I love it. And what I love about this is you're balancing triathlon, life, mother, wife. I mean, you're balancing family life and all this, and you're doing it with real grace and energy. It's really neat to see.
I'm so glad it looks like it's graceful from the outside.
But what you are doing, Addie, is you are the poster child for the theme of this year, and to thrive, because you are thriving, and it doesn't matter the time or the time goal. You have a goal of completing these, of racing them, of sticking with it, and that's how you're going to thrive this year.
Well, and I think one of the amazing things about triathlon is I was looking at my 2018 times, right? And that is after the accident I got the healthiest, the fittest, the fastest, and then kind of went down from there, right? Like because I quit at the end of 2018. Okay. December 2018, I quit. I started my business, all of that. And I think that you can only focus on so many things. You only have so much focus. And now I think that I have the bandwidth to actually focus again, to sit down and look at what I'm eating and look at what my training is tomorrow. How I want to do this training, when do I want to ride, right? So I'm finally also excited about it again.
And like John said, you're balanced. You're balancing all of this. Juggling it is a better word, right?
But you know what? Have you ever heard the thing is like when you're juggling, there is glass balls and there is plastic balls, right? So the glass, there is different times for everything. So there is moments where you can drop the plastic balls and they're not going to break. Yeah. And the glass balls are the ones that you can't let. So or kid, right? Like he's always a priority, no matter what. No race, no job, no nothing is ever gonna come in front of that. So that's a glass ball. There is moments for everything. There is moments where he can have an iPad and I can be training. It's okay, right? So
I've never heard that, and I love it. That is
that's another gem.
Yeah. That is just like for me, honestly, I'm a happier person. I'm a healthier person when I'm doing triathlon. Also, the community.
Yeah.
The having people around that are constantly looking for more. That for me to actually be able to train with Jamie and Candace, even though right now I'm way slower than them. I'm like, well, I want to train with them. No. Like I want to train with somebody that's lower than me. I want to train with them because I want to get my ass kicked, right? So I get faster. So it's like those things that really push you, and there is different friendships for everything, and the friendships in triathlon are just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, and one of your friends is watching. Jamie does say hi on the comments. So
Hola, amiga.
I knew
And just so you know, Addie, I'm going to try to beat you at Oregon. So
Okay.
you've got an old guy who's going to try
Oh
to
my
keep up with
God.
you.
I was so mad that I was left out for that race. I was so mad. So mad.
I love it. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it
And
is.
very, very, like Bob said, some great gems in here about how the mental side of approaching everything from life, work, and triathlon. And yes, you are thriving, and it's going to be great to see you do have a great year in 2023. Addie, thank you so much for coming on this call.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you do for the triathlon community. I think that triathlon makes life better, right? It makes us
Mhm.
better persons, better community in so many ways. And you guys honestly do so much for this community. Like I couldn't do it like at this point in life, right? Like it's so amazing that you guys keep the fort and people together and all of that.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. And it is, it has to be healthy, and we really, really enjoy that. And so thank you for pointing that out. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. This has been great. And
Yeah.
thank you again, Addie.
This
Thank
was
you so
fun.
much.
Can't wait to see you at a
Thanks for being
race.
here.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.